Alright, Travis Wayne Goodsell. We are day one of the Feast of Tabernacles of the House of Israel, not Judah. And so it's not listed in your Jewish calendar. This is from 1 Kings chapter 12, where we get this information from. And so, finding out about this, I then have additional information to answer Stanford's question that he had a month or two or so back concerning the sons of Levi offering up a sacrifice in righteousness. And so we're going to go over Leviticus because of it. And so first, got to take care of some business. There's some trash to be taken out. YouTube is still attacking women. Still. They're not leaving them alone. Unbelievable. So last year, in February, they had the female CEO of YouTube forced out of office and replaced him with the guy who's trashing YouTube, which is why they had the stock failure, was because of his new great ideas. They made him the CEO. And ever since then, he has interpreted Congress to say, leave YouTubers alone. Stop the bullies from bullying YouTube creators. And so he decided to interpret that as, oh, women are porn, ban women. No, you're supposed to stop your bullying. And he just went on a rampage. There are thousands of female channels who are gone. Even little girls, teen girls, were abused sexually by YouTube. And he just won't stop. And so today I found out the tragic, sad news that Stella, whom I've used in pictures as a trad wife, barefoot, pregnant, and in the kitchen, she's gone. So sad. So sad. They just will not stop their abuse, not just of me, but of others who they disapprove of. So another thing, to the west of Independence, earthquake this morning, 3.2, I think. So that's big for them. Yep. Would have been 9th grade. We had a Southern California earthquake in 9th grade. Because I remember I went into the classroom, and then I don't think it was 7th grade or 8th grade. Maybe. Because I'm seeing the classroom, the door was at the front, and so I don't think it would. Well, yeah, it would have been Norco, because all of their rooms had the door at the front. Yeah, it would have been Norco. Yeah. And sitting there in class waiting for it to start. There's still a whole bunch of people that haven't shown up yet. And that morning, this was the first class of the day. All of a sudden, rumble, rumble, rumble. I'm just sitting in my chair. Oh, earthquake. Cool. Others were panicking. Hilarious. So, yeah, fun times. The other one is that there was a power outage here in Salt Lake City today, as I also checked that. Just was inspired, sure enough, because YouTube is retaliating for me trying to be a creator on YouTube. How dare you, Travis? And so I've gotten so low, I had several hours this morning at 0. And that's why I thought, well, maybe there's a power outage again. Maybe an earthquake. No. YouTube is on full-on attack. And so I did the snapshots and then made the cut and paste, or cut to trim them to demonstrate how YouTube on every single source to see the view count, they're all different. This is AI imposing itself on the already existing algorithms of YouTube. And remember, our voting machines for 2024 not needing to be hooked up to a network. We're counting the votes. Yeah, AI algorithms do not do straight counts. They're projections only. There is no straight counting whatsoever in algorithms, and especially with AI in algorithms, because AI incorporates the algorithm programming. There is no straight count. You get 10 people going in to vote, you can end up with 50 who voted for a certain candidate. It's projection. It's just sick and wrong. And so that was why Trump was put in as president, and nobody knows how AI functions to figure this out. And it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry now with over 70,000 different AI companies worldwide. It is just out of control. And these people know it's big bucks and a big fraud. I've done the videos. Blockbuster Video crashed because of their algorithms. That's why when you went there, they didn't have the new releases available for you, because the algorithms told the store they didn't need that many. They were projecting rather than, dear God. And you know, it's tough to be able to figure out how many, but they're new releases. It's better to provide more, because then they would finally figure out, hey, we can sell them as used product. Duh. Dear God. So yeah, then you have contract scandals and other problems that ensued. But that's all done and gone. Now Disney is the controversy now, who hates America and won't produce anything on DVD. Streaming only! So yeah, I was horrified with the sale of The Simpsons, Star Wars, and Marvel. Crap! It was tough enough to get The Simpsons on DVD, but now it's impossible. Anyway, so Leviticus 23, verse 27. Also on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. That's Yom Kippur. And they're using the 7th month of the religious calendar, so that it's here at the end of our year calendar. Whereas the civil calendar, that would be the first month. So thus my dreams about 77 and 88, yeah, they're talking about tabernacles. This final one, we'd had the one previously in October for the Jews, and then this month is the one for the northern Israel, the Israelites. And so thus we as Mormons are new Israelites. There's a reason why. Yep, Joseph Smith Sr. was an attender of the meetings, as often as occasion would permit, of the new Israelites in Vermont. Learned Jewish Kabbalah and Knights Templar from the Yorkites. So yes, that's why you see all that all over the place with Joseph Smith in the Book of Mormon. Because Senior had to rewrite the 116 pages. We're not Christian. Again, a Mormon comes to the video I just did this morning, which talks about test people by their fruits. I test AI, I test YouTube, I can test the so-called self-proclaimed titles of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You're supposed to do it. Why didn't you do it, Mormons? Why didn't that Mormon do it? Why is he upset with me for running the test and then presenting my testimony to you in the video this morning? Because that's what a testimony is. It's not a spiritual witness feeling. What the hell is wrong with you? God. It's like you hear about Chad Daybell going into court and giving testimony, and you think, oh, he shared his spiritual witness feelings of the devil. He can't share spiritual witness feelings in court. You have to testify of what you have physically seen, heard, touched, tasted, and smelt. You are a witness to physical reality, and Constantine screwed it all up with Christianity. Changing definitions, and thus deceiving people. And this church, by claiming to be Christian, is continuing that deception. And you should have caught on by putting them to the test, as the Bible even said. Not just the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith. You're not supposed to just automatically trust people. You're supposed to know how to test. Then, when you confirm that they are telling you the truth, then you can go around and testify of them. You're supposed to do it with the Book of Mormon. You're not supposed to go on a mission as a little kid who hasn't even read it. And you definitely don't trust Packer, who said the bearing of a testimony is how you get a testimony. You got conned, and you're upset with me, are you? This is the evil of Mormonism. That Mormon will not leave me alone to worship how, where, and what I may, because it's Joseph in the Book of Mormon that he disagrees with. This is the whole thing. I have left the church. I am Mormon. And yesterday, I got a vicious hate comment from a woman. This is important because it has to do with the Exodus. Mormons are cutting themselves off. Yeah, I still have her up. Deep Purple, Queen. She's calling herself a queen rather than a goddess. Okay, whatever. If you're going to demote yourself like the United States did to Brigham Young. This is so sick and wrong. Deep Purple Queen comes to one video and she attacks me. You know, she's a young girl. Apparently she's wicked, not barefoot pregnant in the kitchen like obedient Stella, who's been barred from YouTube. And so she says to me, but she's not talking to me. She's talking to an audience who comes to my video. She's trying to incite the mob against me as a Mormon. To incite the mob against me for my religion. She is cutting herself off from millennial Zion. We're there now. It's time. We're still waiting for the final four. The government is already ahead of us. They've got the first two down. We already know what the next final two are. The exodus for the government is mass deportation. And then MAGA Nation for 4 for Zion. I should add those in. Mass deport and MAGA Nation. Made some new pretty pictures for day one. And so she says, the guy who made this video, she can't talk to me, can she? She is so evil, she won't talk to me about it. She won't be civilized and say, you know about Mormon stuff. Are you Mormon? How did you leave the church, or were you excommunicated? Did you get your sensitive snowflake feelings hurt? She's got the feelings that are hurt. Beam and mote projectionist. No, she won't talk to me. She won't want to learn. She doesn't want to understand. She assumes the church is true. She never put it to the test. You gotta put it to the test. You're getting conned and you're being turned into an evil person by this indoctrination. And so, the guy who made this video is not a Mormon. Technically, I still am. I haven't pulled my membership records. I just left. Bleep you, Bishop. If the prophets are going against the Book of Mormon, they're wrong. That's the big standard for Mormonism. You are not a Mormon if you are disobeying the Book of Mormon. Section 119 disobeys the Book of Mormon, but to say that Eve fell is also a violation of the Book of Mormon. And Joseph Smith. Did you know that, women? No? You followed Kate Kelly and you had no clue? I was in your midst and you had no clue? I told you about the Joseph Smith papers. Joseph Smith giving you priesthood and office, and that's not what you're concerned about. You want to wear slacks at the priesthood meetings of conference, and so Nelson did away with the priesthood meetings. So there. Now you no longer wear a veil in the temple. Oh no. And it just... You guys are so easily conned because you don't put them to the test. When you learn that the church is racist, they're false. When you learn that the church burns bridges with LGBTQIAPO+, they're false. When they abuse women, they're false. Hello? You don't try to stay in the church to make changes from within, because you will never be allowed at the top. They give the orders. They make the rules. And if you don't like it, they punish you. Right, YouTube? What a piece of work you are. Oh, now she's talking to me. To make this crap. It's only based on her feelings, because she didn't put the church to the test. Just like the Mormon who put the thumbs down on the video and didn't have the courage to make a civilized comment to understand where I'm coming from and what I'm talking about, even though the video was very plain and precious. And so, to another person who commented and I approved their comment, she goes on to incite them against me. This guy is crazy. This dream purple queen, stop sniffing the flowers. Apparently they're mushrooms. Just pure evil, Mormons. And this is why I've been doing my videos all this time. This is the warning. This is the threat that Joseph Smith warned you of. When I come, you need to listen to me. If you don't listen to me, you will cut yourself off. And there's great danger for you if you don't listen to me. We need to get to Zion. And that's why the Exodus is so vital. The fall of the great and abominable church, the transfer of authority so that we can then go to Zion and build it and establish it. The government part is already 2 ahead, and we already know what 3 and 4 are in a coming day. It's just seriously, Mormons, dear God. What it literally is going to have to require a massive event so that you are compelled to be humble. Because just like that queen mushroom, there's no way you're going to ever willingly choose to do your research. You're making your tribal decision to stick with the church at all costs, regardless of whether it's true or false, because it's going to be automatically true for you. It is true, and nothing they can do or say will ever change your mind. Seriously, she is still waiting for Jesus. She does not get it. She does not understand the con that they pulled on you. Just like the one who put the thumbs down on the baby video. Or the one I just did too. The same person. They don't care to listen to my content for years now. They're probably even older than my oldest follower. They've been putting a thumbs down on every single video except for oops. Sometimes they go on vacation and I put out too many videos and they forgot where they left off and oops. But yeah, they have to click signed in to put the thumbs down and be counted so that they can also see the red line of where they left off. And they have missed some over the years. Oopsie. And so when I got booted out of West Valley into Gail Miller's concentration camp of hell of human trafficking, they had thought that I was gone. And so there was a period of time where I was free from thumbs down. And wow, the views just skyrocketed. They were projecting that my new residence was making me popular. Yeah. And then they found me. He's still doing videos. And then the YouTube employee found me. Oh crap, he isn't gone. He's not dead yet. Okay, so Leviticus, the scriptures are where the Jews get their knowledge for the calendar that they created. But this is the religious calendar that they're talking about here, because the 7th month of the civil calendar would be Passover, whereas it's the 1st month of the religious calendar for Passover. So knowing this confusion makes it easier to figure out. And it's all Babylon's fault, because they use 7 days in a month. And so technically, the 7th month should be a Sabbath month, but I guess Babylon only wanted to do it per day, because the number 7 and Sabbath are simpatico, from the same root. And so when we get to, let's see, they have in verse 32 an actual Sabbath day in the 9th day of the 7th month, which is weird because 9 is Shua Simpatica rather than Sabbath Simpatica. Very interesting that they chose a Sabbath for 7 to be on the 9th day of the month. But the Day of Atonement is on the 10th day of the month. So a Sabbath precedes Yom Kippur, but that's not how it's done. The Jews didn't follow this. Because, bring up the picture. Alright, so October, the new year started on the 3rd of October. That's the Rosh Hashanah, the Feast of Trumpets. Then on the 6th is the Feast of Gedalia. And so they have the Day of Atonement on the 10th, but it's not, there's no Sabbath designation here, as Leviticus tells them they're supposed to. On the 9th day of the month, there is supposed to be a Sabbath observance, regardless of whether it's on the 7th day of the week. So the 12th of October for the 10th of Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, was on the Sabbath. That was on Saturday. And so technically, the 11th was also supposed to be an extra dedicated Sabbath day, according to Leviticus, that I just read to you from chapter 23. The Jews didn't do this. Oops. And then you have the Feast of Tabernacles, which is from the 15th to the 21st. And technically it's the 14th at 6 p.m. because that's when the Jews, thanks to Babylon, designate the new day is at 6 p.m. So the day starts with the evening of the setting sun. And so that was the 17th through the 23rd. And then there's an extra 8th day on the 24th. Now, for the Israelite version, we're looking into November. Today is day 1. It's the Sabbath day. But that's Babylonian. You would assume that they would also have the feast of, or the Yom Kippur and the Sabbath day observance before Yom Kippur. But we don't see that in 1 Kings chapter 12. We just see that they have a separate, distinct Feast of Tabernacles, tents, the month after the one that Judah had. And so he was trying to assert his authority, and it may not even be literal history, because when you go back that far, they're all prophecies and revelations of their future Christ. And thus why it was hilarious to find out that these Israelites were Danites on Mount Ephraim. Every single Mormon should know what I'm talking about. And that's why it's so crucial that Mormons know about this. That they don't just dismiss it because it's not what the prophets are telling them. Dear God, people. And so, yes, we are new Israelites. Joseph Smith tells us we are the house of Israel. Our hymns tell us we are the house of Israel. It's only through symbolism of the prophecies that we are also Judahites. We are the Jews of prophecy, thanks to Joseph Smith in the Book of Mormon. We are not Christian at all. And so the designation of the 15th through the 15th is today to next Saturday, which technically is 8 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 days. And I was hoping that we would have it at the beginning, that the fall happens, the transition of authority happens, so that Sunday the call would go out. Yeah, we're not holding church today. It's canceled. Instead, those who want to go to Zion, please see me, and we'll arrange for, throughout the whole world, bishops would be doing this. And there's some processes and procedures and stuff that need to be taken care of. This is a period of time that needs to be taken place. But the way the scriptures set it up for Passover and for tabernacles of the Jews is that on the final day, which means the 23rd, is the actual Exodus. And it pisses me off to no end. Because I'm trunky as hell. This has been a long latter days for me, with so much abuse by so many Mormons. They just don't want the truth. They have rejected their Christ. They have rejected their founder. They have rejected their keystone. They have rejected their religion. And they don't give a damn about it. They're doing their own will. They don't even listen to the prophets. They find out a month later that Nelson said Jesus is coming in a coming day. Because they go on vacation for conference, where I am listening to it. But I'm an anti-Mormon, antichrist, apostate, Korahar. Okay? And so as much as it would have been perfect and orderly to have it done at the first day, so that tomorrow put out the call, instead what we're looking at is that if something happens during the week or on the last day, then yeah, there will end up having to be a special meeting for people around the world in your different wards that the bishop would call you to, and then those who don't show because you had to work and you didn't get the message or whatever, you'll be contacted separately and asked. But there's just no way that it won't happen. This is what Mormons are not understanding. Mormons have no clue about any of this for the Feast of Tabernacles. Not a single clue. They may not even know about the Jewish Feast of Tabernacles. Only a few Mormons who think they're special above other Mormons might know about it. But they have no clue. They think it's all about Jesus. And so, for 2016, which was an exact same pattern as I found out yesterday and did the video for you, that just blew me away. That again, Mormons were warned at the very beginning, at the conception time, government first, then the religion, conception of your Christ, during this Israelite Feast of Tabernacles, on the same days as our calendar days for this year. Same pattern match. Theirs was on a Wednesday back then. Now it's on the Sabbath day. And Mormons, they struggle to figure out that there's Adamon Diamen coming to his temple, Mount of Olives, and then from the clouds of glory. Again, that's only a few select Mormons who think they're better than the other Mormons. I got it all figured out. I know exactly what to do. Follow me and you'll never go hungry again. Oh, I still have my earthquake thing up. Go away now. You can go away. Alright, and so the Feast of Tabernacles is covered in verses 35, 36, and 42 to 43. And there's, like I said, there's some other stuff that is involved. That's why I brought it up. And so the sons of Levi offering up an offering in righteousness has to do with Malachi. That's where it's first brought up in Scripture. And that ties in to Leviticus, because it's titled Leviticus. Even though the Jews don't title it, it was the Greek Septuagint after Constantine. That Christians were now trying to say, okay, which scriptures are approved in accordance with our created creed, and which ones are we to reject? And then there were several people who came up with Bibles, but in the end we have what we have now. And then the Catholics have the Apocrypha from the Septuagint in theirs. But again, you need to understand that's what they were doing. They were picking and choosing which Jewish scriptures were approved of and which ones were rejected because of the first creed of Christianity that stole the Jewish scriptures, turned them into literal histories. And so the Jews did not give them titles other than the first word of each of the books. So Genesis is called Genesis because the Septuagint and the Latin Vulgate said in the beginning. So thus Genesis, beginning. But otherwise, if they would have found the Qumran community documents, they would know that it's not in the beginning. Joseph Smith was right all along. Weird. Yeah, it's Rosh. Head. Not beginning. Head. As the leader. Head. The presider. Head. Joseph was right. Should have trusted Joseph. Nobody does. So for Leviticus, it's not Leviticus because it's considered the Levitical regulations and rules that they do for the sacrifices and the offerings. That's why it's called Leviticus. It's the priestly text, as it's also called. Not the documentary hypothesis. No, no, no. No, no, no. And so it's technically, and he called. That's the title of the book for the Jews. And it's an incorrect translation. But I won't go too much into that. It has to do with Yah, the Hebrew God, the head God of Genesis, also, that they were too ashamed to refer to. Who got a new name, Yahweh, in Genesis chapter 2, verse 4. That's the pattern of the Genesis author, and they couldn't figure that out. It's the pattern throughout the whole thing. So, let's go over the Leviticus things first, and then we'll go over the sons of Levi in this context for right now. Because technically, today is supposed to be the day of the first day of burning, offering unto the Lord in righteousness. And it's not getting done. Uh-oh, Mormons. Bad news bears. Alright, so 35-36. On the first day shall be an holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein. This day is supposed to be the Sabbath day. Hey, lo and behold, it is this year, on the final year of the prophecy. Check. Prophecy fulfilled. 7 days you shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. So, in yesterday's video, you saw the Sodom and Gomorrah altered picture. AI was not involved, but it's a fake picture. That wasn't the way it was, Travis. They had a different picture. You altered it. Sodom and Gomorrah is destroyed by fire from heaven. And so, even though parting of the waters in 2020, I thought was already done with the drought, I didn't expect that it would actually be the Green River that I would part. Check. And so, likewise, last year, for Nelson's birthday and the 9/11, there were the Perseid meteor showers. And sure enough, Nelson fell. Falling stars How art thou fallen from heaven, O Russell Marion? He fell on 9/11. Sign in the heavens, likeness of things on the earth. And so, because it hasn't happened yet, is this the signs in the heavens for the physical fall of the church, in the sense of the burning, the day that shall burn as an oven for Malachi? Again, the connection between the sons of Levi offering up a burnt offering unto the Lord and the day that shall burn as an oven. There's a direct connection going on. But whether the events on earth are tied to the signs in the heavens, but yet it does seem to correspond. Because on 9th Ave this year, of the Jews, the water was poured out all over the altar of Utah on the first day and the last day. Last of the day. The first and the last of the day. That impressed me. But then, what about the lightning from heaven causing a fire on the altar? Well, enter 9/11 this year. That morning I have my Irene dream of tents. Number 15 doubled. Transfer of authority, number 2. And then that day, lightning strikes Thule, where the Deseret Peak Temple would get dedicated just last Sunday. They still have the street signs up. They never came back to retrieve them. And so, yeah, it's literally being fulfilled according to prophecy too. So, 42 and 43. Ye shall dwell in booths. This is also tents, tabernacles. This is the word. 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths. This is for Mormons. Your generation may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. And so the ritual is for the Israelites to dwell in booths, and it's really cool in New York during this time. They have the booths attached to their apartment buildings. And I didn't know what it was at first. Had no clue. Church won't tell me. I'm just a little kid. Older little kid than you are, going on your mission now. And so this is the symbolism that the Book of Mormon talks about. That the laws of Moses need to be kept until you figure out that they are prophecies and revelations of the latter days. And so the number 77 and 88 apply here for the latter days. The Exodus, tabernacles. And so the full latter days is a period of 7 years, 8 for counting the first year. 77, 88. That pattern numbering. That's why all my dreams since Hinckley and Monson and then Irene all relate to tabernacles. And I didn't know it until after Irene's dream on 9/11 this year at 3 in the morning. Then it started to click. But then I thought, oh, Passover and tabernacles. And then it took some extra study that I was inspired to do to find out about the 1 Kings chapter 12. And here we are. I'm the only one who knows this information, the only one who can share it with you. Mormons get exclusive knowledge. Anybody else who YouTube recommends my videos to, good for you. But you're way behind on all the information necessary to get you caught up. And we're in the final time, the final day. And so it's not just for the 7 days, but it's the symbolism of also the 7 years of the latter days. That 2016 started it off with the Feast of Tabernacles for the Israelites and ends with the Feast of Tabernacles for the Israelites. And in 2014, 2015, Scott dies on Yom Kippur, and then boom, the final solar or lunar eclipse occurred on the Jewish Feast of Tabernacles on the first day. Thus, full moons start them off. That's how the calendar is set up, is to be lunar for David of the Egyptians, who is the moon god. Thought. And so technically it's after the last day when the story says that the Israelites left Egypt. And so technically this then is Passion Week. Because that Passion Week got corrupted by Christians. It's supposed to be the Exodus week, but there's some weirdness going on. Because they're making it literal history, and that's why they're screwing it up. It should be under Events of Passion Week. Timeline of Nelson. I'm not seeing it. Crap. Seriously? Have they forced AI on my system? Not a single one of them refers to passion, and yet typing in passion in the search, it came out with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Came out with 10 different documents. None of them have anything to do with passion in any of the text. It's just so sick and wrong. So now we got to do it again, go online, and here we are at the hour mark where I got silenced on the previous video and just decided, screw this, I'm ending. Events for each day of Passion Week. Notice also that the Catholics have a couple of holy days going on during this timeline as well. There's the conception of Jesus during this time as well, during this timeline. That obviously is false. So here we have Mountain Springs Church, who's doing a timeline of Holy Week. So, today, Palm Sunday, no, Sabbath days, day 1. And so on the last day of the Holy Week, Also notice that the solar eclipses this year were on the last day of the last of the years for both the religious and the civil calendar, or the last day of the 6th month. And so this is also part of the symbolism that you're supposed to catch on with the prophecies. That a solar eclipse means fall, collapse, destruction, death, ruin. And so it's not a coincidence that they knew of this year. And so, yeah, it would have been awesome if the fall of the church happened today. Although it should have happened last night, yesterday. On the first day of Holy Week, Jesus entered Jerusalem on a donkey. No! That's him on Exodus. That's the Exodus, going into Zion, with the righteous in Zion, Jerusalem, welcoming him, shouting, Hosanna, praise be to Yah, Son of David. See, because turning it literal history and putting it into the order as literal history now has Jesus accepted and approved by everyone as their Messiah, and then at the end of the book they murder him. It's something the Danites would do. Right, Joseph? So yeah, that's day one. His entry into Zion. That's actually the final day. And so day 2, that's where he just condemns the great and abominable church for section 119. Hey, I did that yesterday. Again, not a coinkydink. I get inspired, I do it, and then I find out, oh, yeah, cool. Day 3, Jesus goes to the Mount of Olives. No. See, because he's talking about the destruction. Putting his foot on the Mount of Olives, it divides, the Jews go through, convert to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's number 3 of the 4 second comings. But this is about the destruction. See how it's all tied in. Financial crimes. Ezekiel 16 says Sodom was destroyed because they neglected the poor. Financial crimes. Church of Jesus Christ rolled out. Their new money changer for Christmas. The vending machines. Pay the church through this other source. We promise some of it will go to charity. And whether they give it to the people, that's up to them. But thank you for more money. You see how the symbolism of the Jewish author is underlined with this Christian abomination cover-up. And so, Holy Wednesday, day 4. This is Gethsemane, isn't it? Because they have Jesus praying with a crown of thorns on his head. But it's not that they rested after 2 exhausting. This is a Sabbath by resting. So, yeah, oh, God. So this is actually today. as the Sabbath, but tensions are reaching a boiling point. Religious leaders want to avoid causing an uproar in the city during the festival. We do still have an uproar in the city. Jesus knows he'll be killed on Passover. That was 8 April 2024, sign in the heavens. Symbolism of the fall of the government and the great and abominable church. And the sacrificial lamb, that happened 8 April. Day 5, Passover, and Maundy, Thursday. This is the Last Supper, because that's the picture they show. They have the Holy Grail and a loaf of half-eaten bread to share the Passover meal. You mean the Last Supper? That's why it's the Latter Days Supper. Here's Gethsemane, though. After the meal, he goes to Gethsemane, where then Jesus betrays him. Yeah. He goes to Gethsemane, bleeds from every pore. That's exclusive Mormon information from the Doctrine and Covenants. And then Judah betrays him. Utah betrays him. Hands him over to the Jewish leaders. See, that already happened back in 2008. That's the Hinckley dream. He is arrested, taken to Nelson for trial. There was no trial. But likewise, it's prophecy. Those who know Jewish law tell people that every single Jewish law was violated for Jesus. He did not get a free and fair trial. Neither did I. I didn't even get the trial. Jesus at least got a trial. Day 6, Good Friday. Yay, we've killed him. It's good. That's what Christmas means. The dismissal of Christ. Yay! Which comes from the tradition of it being during the end of the year to start the new year with the new masses for the next year. But it's still funny. Especially when you learn that kata doesn't mean according to. It means the downward motion. Yep. And so Good Friday was when he's falsely accused by the Jews. Mormons. Falsely accused by Mormons. Right? Queen Purple. So a crown of thorns, they're messing with the symbolism of the letters of the alphabet coming from Egyptian hieroglyphs. I'd have to go into a further discussion on that one. And nailed to the cross, 9-inch nails. 9th hour. Breathed his last breath. Jews know what they're doing. You just gotta not treat it as literal history. And then day 7 is Saturday, which is next week, and this week, 7th day is Saturday. And so in this particular instance, the way the Matthew author sets it up is that Sunday, the first day of the week, which is going to be this situation, on the 24th is Sunday, the first day of the week, and boom, Mormons go to Zion, or at least begin starting of it. If that's the way it's going to happen, we have to wait and find out. Because if it's not this week, oh dear God, what the hell? Everything was all set up for it. Why? The government is already 2 ahead and we already know what the next 2 are. Doesn't make any sense. And so, they're talking about Sabbath ended at 6 p.m. People went to the tomb, prepare for the burial. He says he's a terrorist and that's why he was executed. And then the 8th day, it's resurrection. And this is what the enemy thinks of. They think of Jesus' second coming as a restoration, but in the context of the day that shall burn as an oven, resurrection as zombie apocalypse has to do with this. This is how they're screwing it up. This is restoring Joseph's religion and getting Mormons who believe that Joseph and the Book of Mormon are Jewish, not Christian, can go and be in peace, safety, and refuge in Zion, away from everybody else who's going to kill each other and see who actually becomes a zombie apocalypse. They're just screwing this up royally. Dear God. Okay? And so then he sees Mary, his wife, and says, we can't have sex, even though you've had children, calling you woman, until 8 April 2024. Hilarious. Hilarious. Alright. So Malachi now, chapter 3. And so you have them out of order in the sense of this is number 2. See, first it's the fall. And he does talk about Judgment Day. Where is the God of judgment? Where is the fall? And then he says, behold, I will send my messenger, he shall prepare the way before me, and the Lord whom ye seek shall suddenly come to his temple. That's the transfer of authority. So there is no Adam on Diamond, in case you hadn't caught on. That's the transfer of authority, number 2. So the church is kind of merging things by making their new creation. The Adam on Diamond transfer is suddenly coming to his temple. And then the Jerusalem thing, that's going in the Exodus to Zion, as is the coming in the clouds of glory. But by turning it into literal history, they've screwed everything up. Who may abide the day of his coming? Who shall stand when he appeareth? For he is like a refiner's fire and like a fuller's soap. He shall sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. He shall purify the sons of Levi. This is now through this week. I am your judge. I will determine who goes to Zion with section 85 of the Doctrine and Covenants, the book of the law. You will not get a lot for an inheritance in Zion if you're like the Queen Purple woman or the Mormon who puts a thumbs down. This is for people who choose because they believe. And so every day, as we read from Leviticus, there is the symbolism of the day that shall burn as an oven with the burnt offerings that are going on here. And purge the sons of Levi as gold and silver, that they may offer unto the Lord an offering in righteousness. This is not baptisms for the zombie apocalypse. that you have to pay as an extortion price to save your kindred dead. This is the Feast of Tabernacles, about the warning of the day of burning during harvest. This is harvest time. The field is white, all ready to burn. It's only in one passage in the Doctrine and Covenants. The rest says, the field is white, all ready to harvest. Just one place says burn. But that's what you do after the harvest. You burn the crop, the ash then puts nutrients into the soil for the next planting. And so this use of the sons of Levi is in accordance with what became the Levitical priesthood of Aaron. And again, the pictures for this feast. I used Aaron offering up the golden cow, technically gold. Thus, you have to read the text. Hilarious. Is because all of this plays into it. This is where Malachi is getting it from. He is not getting it from Leviticus, other than the priests of Aaron of Levi are the ones who are ordered in Leviticus, which is not Leviticus, it's and he called. And it's not actually called, it's more correct as one word proclaimed, ordered, but you miss out in the full meaning of it because it's involving the word seer. I'm pretty sure it is. Let's check again. Yeah. Ra is seer in Paleo-Hebrew. That's the root word of that word, which is called in English, in our King James Version. So it's far more than just called. It's a visionary prophecy that's involved. And so a more accurate translation would be far more than proclaimed. It's the official status of the seer making a prophecy. Okay. And then there's others that I would need to explain for the translation corrected. And so thus, they're all talking in terms of prophecy of the future Christ latter days. That's what this is talking about here. And this is it. We're in it. Every single day is supposed to be an offering on the altar. And it's just a symbolism form. So Mormons generally are not coming to my video to know this information. This will only be for the righteous when we get to Zion, who then go back on all my videos and find out about it. And then they'll understand. So that Mormons must be purged. They must be compelled to be humble. They must be compelled to believe. Because right now, Mormons ain't nowhere near ready to go to Zion. That's what it's talking about here. Mormons are too far gone and corrupted mentally, emotionally, spiritually, to even be a Zion people. And the percentage numbers is scary. You've got Mormons who leave the church, but they still believe the church. That's why they left. And so ex-foes, they still don't care to know the truth, just like Mormons don't care to know the truth. They just know they don't want any part of that kind of religion, whatever the reason was they left. Whether it was because they believed that Joseph was responsible for what Brigham Young framed and blamed him for. And they don't care to know the truth. They just keep doing YouTube videos, spreading the lies. And so then shall the offering of Judah and Jerusalem be pleasant unto the Lord. Utah and Yah, the god Yah of Salem. As in the days of old, as in former times. I will come near unto you in judgment, and I will be a swift witness against all the bad people. Mormons who are witches, and Mormons who are adulterers. Dear God, there's a lot more than I realized. False swearers, swearing by Jesus rather than by me. And against those that oppress the hireling in his wages, not taking care of the poor, and so thus the widows and the fatherless, and turn aside the stranger from his right, and fear not me, saith the Lord of hosts. For I am the Lord, I change not, therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. Once you're purged. Don't stop believing. Or should we do burn? I like burning songs. Burn in Hell, Judas Priest. Because that's what we're talking about. Okay, so this week, Mormon Passion Week. I like that. We're going to using that as a title. Mormon Passion Week. We're using that. Okay. I see we got a couple other scriptures we got to go over for tabernacles too, even though it's for the Jewish tabernacles. But obviously they're speaking of the Israelite tabernacles. As there's a dualism going on. And so, sure enough, then they get into will a man rob God? The financial crimes of the great and abominable church, the purging of the temple, setting in order the temple, which would be Zion. You have robbed me. You're giving your money to a false Christ through a false prophet who's using that money to destroy you. And that's why Joseph Smith says, as he changes this, they that come shall burn you. This was intended by the Jews as your purification of heart to go to Zion. But instead, the enemy have turned this into a zombie apocalypse after you're burned. And so, so far they failed. They didn't realize AI would work so effectively. So they were hoping that AI would get exposed, thus cause the controversy in the vote, that nobody can trust it because the AI voting machines got busted. Oh no, what do we do? Trump was proclaiming himself the winner, and he's upset that the voting machines had AI and is screwing everything up, and he says he's the winner, and he's gonna and white supremacist Christian nationalists are outraged. No, Harris is not our president. Death to America. That was one of the options for this election. They didn't realize how effective AI would be on blinding the minds of the people. They never ran the tests like I did to find out. And anybody who's a creator on YouTube knows this. And yet, dear God. Alrighty. Okay. Alright. Okay. Let's go to Zechariah first, then we'll go to John. Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive. I was worried about that. They did not put a chapter. Crap. It's verses 16 to 19, because there are no chapters 16 to 19. It ends at 14. So let's start from 1. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, I am returned to Jerusalem with mercies. My house shall be built in it, saith the Lord of hosts. And a line shall be stretched forth from Jerusalem. Cry yet, saying, thus saith the Lord of hosts, my cities through prosperity shall be spread abroad. The Lord shall comfort Zion, and shall yet choose Jerusalem. I will lift up my eyes, behold 4 horns. And I said unto the angel that talked with me, what be these? He answered, these are the horns which have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem. Don't think that was the intended, but there was, okay, let's keep checking. And wow, this is going to be a quick check. That is it, because none of these other chapters. Oh, here we go. Chapter 8. These are the things that ye shall do. Speak ye every man the truth to his neighbor. Execute judgment of truth and peace in your gates. Let none of you imagine evil in your hearts. Love no false oath. I don't think this is it. Fast of the 4th month, and the fast of the 5th month, and the fast of the 7th month, and the fast of the 10th. Shall be to the house of Judah joy and gladness, cheerful feasts. No. Here's an interesting one. Chapter 9, verse 16. And the Lord their God shall save them in the day as the flock of his people, for they shall be as the stones of a crown. That's the building design plans for Zion and New Jerusalem. Lifted up as an ensign upon his land. Yeah, it looks like it was verse 1, or chapter 1. So I'm not, that was crap. You trust a Christian and you get fooled every time. So now I'm not confident about John either. Chapter 7. 37 to 38. Okay, this one they got right. In the last day, so that's next week on the 23rd, the great day of the Feast of Tabernacles, Jesus stood and cried, saying, If any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink. This is the call out for Mormons. Next week. This is a prophecy. This isn't literal history like the Christian who did this article said it was. He that believeth on me, as the Scriptures hath said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. Thus Zion and Jerusalem will have waters flowing from within to without. Idaho Chick is really excited about this. But this he spake of the Spirit. Oh, that's it. Okay. Alrighty. And so then Christ cometh, and of the seed of David. No, Joseph is, not him. He's immaculate. Christians don't get this. Mormons don't understand. You see, because if Heavenly Father impregnated Mary, his 14-year-old daughter, and he's from outer space, and he's the one who formed Adam, so that Heavenly Father is not the source of mankind, only Jesus. How then can Jesus be the seed of David when David isn't even the seed of God? Mormons don't care. Okay? So this is what we're looking at. This is Purge Week for Mormons. Passion Week. As Mormons will be put to the test. So I'm expecting something in the news of somebody suing the church for tithing again. Don't do it in Utah. But the church has to fall. And then that transfer to me needs to be taking place. So the prophets don't want to do this. They have to be compelled to, just like Mormons have to be compelled to believe in me. The prophets keep saying, no, we will not let Mormons go. And so until the compelling begins with the fall, we got stars falling from heaven on the 18th into the 19th. Just so that you know.